Alright, what's up, fuckers? It's Connor Kakanu here, and today we're doing a fun video. It's gonna be fascinating as we go through this, and that is, I read the worst rated manga on MyAnimeList. And as you can imagine, fun fact, bad rated manga is bad. It's not good. So, I read the three lowest is kind of what I considered would be a good reasonability area to start. I didn't want to do too much. They are all relatively short because obviously most of the time when things are bad, they do not continue to run because who the fuck would continue to fund those? So they didn't take too long, and they're probably not going to take a ton of time to discuss, but at the end of the day, I also don't want to read too many of them because they all fucking suck. Who would have thunk it? But nonetheless, we're going to go ahead and just dive into the first one, which is going to be I'm going to start from the lowest rated one and go up because, oddly enough, the lowest rated one is, like, the least interesting in my opinion, and then the third, lowest rated one was the most interesting of the low rated that I read. So, yeah. Starting off, the lowest rated manga on MyAnimeList, fun fact, is actually High School Musical. Yes, I'm talking about the Disney High School Musical. The one that you might have saw in, like, the mid-2000s with, like, fucking Zac Efron and whatnot. They made a manga for it. And, yeah, it sucks. Who would have thought it? I mean, I know Disney has actually, like, done a good amount of manga. Like, I see now, every now and again, like, I know Descendants is literally getting currently published, which, I would never buy that. I'd literally rather they chop my fingers off. But nonetheless, it's not great. It's, not only is it High School Musical, which is not good to start off with, they did an awful job of the storytelling of it. It just isn't good. Like, that's just the simplest way I could describe it. It's just bad. The art is from, like, 2008, so it looks kind of crusty. It's drawn in the very shoujo-esque art style. Hopefully I'll get some pictures up so you guys can kind of see what the fuck I'm talking about, and, I don't look like an absolute loon. But nonetheless, I just would never recommend it to anyone, and I think there's a good reason that it's the lowest rated, because it makes no sense. It's incomprehensible. The story doesn't make, like, it's just not good. They did an awful job telling a story that's already not good in the first place. So it makes perfect sense to me why it's the lowest rated. I imagine some of that is also people just wanting to shit on High School Musical because it's High School Musical and it's not good. Especially, I would consider the audience for manga is not going to be the same audience that would have enjoyed High School Musical. So yeah, that is the lowest rated of all time on MyAnimeList. So we'll go ahead and move on to the second lowest rated. Okay, so the second lowest rated manga is one called Zanin Nagara Chigarai Masu. So it's a one-shot published by Aobi Kotomi, and ultimately it is just an extremely predatory feeling manga in the simplest way to describe it. It basically just has a, like, older guy on an escalator pass a younger girl, and they make eye contact because the younger girl, she is 18, so yes, legal, but it's definitely an age gap, but they make eye contact essentially, and he invites her to a room for the, like, purpose of them getting, like, freaky in it, and then he's like, I don't, realizing now that you're 18, maybe getting freaky with you would be a little weird. That's kind of, like, predatory and shit. She's like, well, I am 18, so I can get married and it's okay. He's like, yeah, no, it's still not okay. She's like, well, what if we just get married? And it's like, what? So you literally find out as they're getting married. They didn't even know their names beforehand as they're getting married. It's stupid. If this was, like, written comedically, it'd be kind of funny. But it's written entirely seriously, and that's where the part of it fucking suck come from. Like, it's not, it shouldn't be serious. There's just no way this is, like, actual, like, serious story. It's just extremely predatory, even though, both the characters are of age. It's written, and it's a one-shot too, so it's not very well developed, so you're just sitting there going, like, this guy's kind of fucking creepy. So yeah, still not a ton to say, because again, it's only a one-shot, it's one chapter, that's all you get, but I think there's a good reason that it's rated very poorly. So yeah, that's the second lowest rated, so we'll move on to the third lowest rated. Okay, so this one was the one that I found the most interesting, probably just for the fact that it is the longest. It has 2 volumes and 25 chapters, although it's technically only 10 chapters. Just within one of the chapters, it's like heavily divided into like fucking tons of parts. But nonetheless, it is called Gal Star Cleaning. So the whole premise is essentially you have a high school guy that hates gals. Very original. You know, he's like, oh, they're loud. I don't like them. They're annoying. I can't handle being around them. Fuck them. So nonetheless, there's this like the top gal, so call it. And one day he has to, she's sick, so he has to bring her, the school assignment shit to her house because apparently he's the closest to her house or something. I don't quite get the reasoning, although it didn't really matter because it's manga. And sometimes the way we get there is as important as, the journey isn't always important. That old saying that the journey is more important than the destination. Not always. Sometimes it's where you're getting that matters. But nonetheless, he gets there, she's sick, and he brings her to her room and stuff, and she basically like threatens him with a photo that makes him look kind of predatory, to say, hey, I know my room's an absolute fucking dumpster because her entire house is trash because she's a gal or whatever. Clean it. And he's like, I don't want to, but you're gonna force me. So he cleans it. So essentially they start with this dynamic of he cleans, but he doesn't really like her, but he does that kind of stuff. Just because he has to. But then, literally, he goes home that same night and finds out his dad is in an extreme amount of debt and is working on a fucking fishing boat and is gone. And essentially now he has to live with the girl and do cleaning for her. And it's supposed to be like a romance during that cohabitation will spark. So that in itself is not necessarily bad, right? It's a very generic feeling romance. And as I was reading this, I was like, yes, this feels extremely generic. I don't get why this is the third worst rated manga of all time. It doesn't quite make sense. It's like your typical, gal and guy, shy, quiet guy, eccentric, outgoing girl. I've seen it many times. I've read it many times. So why the fuck is this so lowly rated? And that will come in fucking chapter 8. So chapter 8, for context, they were basically... she went to school one day she tried to wear his boxers because there wasn't any clean underwear because he refuses to do her panties, and she still won't do them because she's a complete fucking slob. That's the whole joke. But she goes to school wearing his boxers, but as she's leaving they fall off because it's not the right size. So she's essentially wearing no underwear, no panties, nothing. It's bare, and the whole like chapters leading up to him, but eventually they get caught in a locker, classic scenario, and they're about to get caught by her friends, but instead the student council president walks into the room before the friends open the locker and say, hey, you're not allowed to be here. So then, they think the coast is clear, they get out. The student council president is still in there. You think none the wiser, it's like, oh, this is going to be an awkward scenario. But then you find out the student council president has feelings for the main character. But it's the reason he has feelings that is just so fucking weird. So... part of me wants to not laugh at this, but it was so out of left field, it's hard not to laugh. So, the reason that she has feelings for him is one day, she had suspended these delinquents, and essentially the delinquents come back to school and are mad that they, got suspended by the student council president, so they proceed to just fucking rape her. And that is not a joke. It's completely out of left field. Like, she literally starts reminiscing on why, she likes him, and then it is, like, way too long of her just getting fucking raped, and it is so weird. I don't know, like, again, I don't mean, a rape is a very serious thing, and I don't mean to laugh or make fun of, but the part that I find really weird and that makes me just can't not laugh is the fact that it is out of nowhere. I mean, you are watching, like, feels like a very normal, like, gal, girl, and shy guy romance, and, they introduce this, like, third, like, a love triangle aspect, but the reason she's there is because she got raped, and it goes on for so long before he intervenes. Like, I feel like some part of this just has to be the author's fantasy that he wanted to play out, and it makes no sense, and the second I start reading this, I'm like, oh, this is why it's so poorly rated, because it is just so awful. I mean, like, I don't know how to emphasize this. It goes on for so long, it's uncomfortable. And it just makes no sense why it would have to go on. And, eventually it intervenes. And he'll intervene in the past, and that's why she fell in love. But the funniest part is literally the next chapter. Is there confess her love, and he just says no, not interested. I like the gal. So they set up this whole tragic background of this guy or this girl really likes the guy because he saved her from being raped, and then he just says, "No, I like this girl instead. I can't go out with." It's so stupid, dude. I don't get it. Why did this? It was so out of left field. It doesn't make sense. It's not enjoyable. It's terrible storytelling. And it makes so much sense then why this is so lowly rated. And of course the ending is just, the gal and the shy guy end up, realizing they both do like each other, and it's supposed to be like this sweet ending, but it's like, I can't forget the fact that literally 2 chapters ago this girl was getting raped at the fucking wazoo. Like, what the fuck? It is, oh my god, it's so confusing. It doesn't make sense. Why? Who did this? Whose idea? Oh my god, it just baffles me. So yeah, that's gal star cleaning. Yay. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed. I didn't. I was surprised the higher score it got to, the worse it got. I mean, High School Musical was the most bearable one because it was just really quick and really incomprehensible. But yeah, if you guys want to see more videos where I read or, maybe watch really bad stuff, let me know, but yeah, that's it. Bye.